We're back. It's weather for Weather Geeks time here on Monday, the 3rd day of April 2017. Still saying 2016. 3 months or so into the new year. It's opening day of the baseball season. Right now, it's scoreless between the Indians and the Rangers. Of course, the Pirates dropped their opener today. Let's talk weather. All right, we've got so much to get to this week. We're going to have a few different seasons within the course of the next 7 or 8 days. So let's get right to the details and start out with just a review of where we are. Of course, we're in the middle of meteorological spring here. As we get into the month of April, our average highs now are around 53, 54 degrees. By tax day, they're up to 59, and by the end of this month and the start of May, our average high is up to 65. So the averages really climb fast at this time of the year. But nature oftentimes does not care what the averages are, and this will be one of those weeks. Now, speaking of averages, compared to the average today, we were 15 degrees warmer. We hit 69 degrees at the airport this afternoon, thanks to that abundant morning sunshine. The clouds and the wet weather pulled in the afternoon, but sure was a real nice morning. All right, when I recorded this at 7:37 this evening, here's a look at the radar light 2. Somewhat moderate rain around the valley, but a more substantial band of rain is out to the west. Let's do an hour loop on this. This is the kind of the main band that's going to roll through later on this evening. After this rolls through overnight, things will become kind of more scattered in nature again by tomorrow morning. If you look carefully, there's a few lightning flashes out there from Fort Wayne down to the Columbus area. I wouldn't be shocked if someone heard a rumble of thunder here overnight, but I don't think severe weather is all that likely here locally. Unlike our neighbors to the south, tons and tons of severe weather reports down in the southeast today. A lot of hail, damaging winds, a few reports of tornadoes here in parts of Georgia. All those red boxes with the tornado signature there. Or symbol, I should say, central and eastern Georgia. Several tornado warnings earlier in South Carolina, but I haven't seen any confirmed tornado reports just yet. All right, back here at home. Again, we're going to get pretty wet this evening. Band of heavier rain pushes through when I go on the air tonight on 21 News at 11. As most people are getting up and getting ready for their Tuesday tomorrow morning, I think that steady band of rain's long gone. But there can be a little rain, some drizzle, some spotty showers, that sort of thing to kick off the day. So yeah, you'll need the umbrella and the wet weather gear tomorrow morning. But I don't think tomorrow is any sort of a washout. The best chance of wet weather is in the morning. And as we get a little bit farther into the evening, I'll probably fine-tune these hourly probabilities of precipitation, or POPs for short. I might go up to like 80% for the first few hours of daylight and then taper them down to 60, 40, 30, a little bit faster than I have here. But no matter which way you slice it, the morning is probably the wetter half of the day tomorrow. And again, especially with this slug of rain that's coming in later this evening, these will be modest rainfall amounts, probably on the order of a half an inch on average when we tally them all up here in 24 hours. All right, so again, tomorrow's a cloudy day. It's going to be a fairly windy afternoon as well. Our isobars are pretty packed together here, so a gusty wind. Best chance for showers in the morning. Then we're in between systems on Wednesday. Actually, a pretty nice day Wednesday. I've got 61 in the forecast. Mix of sun and clouds on Wednesday. Any rain should hold off until after dark. Here's this warm front, and this is overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And with this front, there could be some stronger storms somewhere around the region, probably to our south, or most likely to our south, but something to keep an eye on. And certainly we will get wet at times Wednesday night and into the day on Thursday. Notice what's going on to our west. Yeah, that's wet snow on the backside of this. In South Bend, Indiana, maybe Indianapolis, maybe heading up towards Lansing. And the threat for snow will be in the forecast for here, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Storm Prediction Center for Wednesday and Wednesday night has another pretty big area of elevated risks of severe weather. Now, the bullseye is down in the southeast, kind of the same area that was under the gun today. So places like Atlanta, Columbia, and heading down towards the panhandle of Florida. But notice the slight risk in the yellow does get up to roughly I-70 or maybe even Route 30. And then the chances for severe weather decrease as you go off to the north and east. This is something we'll keep an eye on. I think our best chance of some stronger storms would be real late Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Not necessarily Thursday afternoon, but late Wednesday night and early in the day on Thursday. All right, so what happens behind this system? We're into April now, and Arctic air is hard to come by at this time of the year. And at this time of the year, you need some real cold air to sustain snow, and especially snow that has a chance of sticking. you need some pretty cold air. Well, sometimes there's not enough cold air on the playing field, and storms, what we call, generate their own cold air. Well, what does that mean? Through a process of what we call dynamic cooling, where the air is rising and cooling as it rises, and also precipitation falling through a process called evaporative cooling. As that precipitation falls into somewhat drier air, it tends to cool the air that's surrounding the precipitation, and all these things add up to the air mass cooling underneath what we call a cutoff low pressure system, which is what's going to happen here. This low is going to get cut off from the main jet stream and sit over the region for 12 or 24 hours and kind of generate its own cold air. And as a result, I do think it will be cold enough to sustain wet snow for a lot of late Thursday night and into the day on Friday, and not only here locally, but a lot of northern Ohio, a lot of Pennsylvania, New York, down into the mountains of West Virginia. And I think it's going to stick in some places. Now, I think this will be low impact on the roads, but I do think that this has a chance to accumulate on non-paved surfaces. And we'll look at a couple of models here. Here's the European ensemble modeling, showing the mean snowfall prediction out of all 51 members of the model. And, it shows 2, 3, 4 inches of snow here locally. Now, this is only Monday, and this is for Thursday night and Friday. So any numbers I throw out, not a forecast at all. Just showing you what some of the modeling is showing as a potential. And again, this would be mostly non-paved surfaces, because a chunk of this would fall during the daylight hours on Friday. But nonetheless, some accumulation on your grass, on your car tops, a distinct possibility. That's the European. The GFS is not quite so gung-ho, but still it has some accumulating snow around, at least coating to an inch or two on the GFS. So I don't think this will be a high-impact event for most people traveling, unless you're out maybe late Thursday night. But could your grass get covered with a couple inches of slushy snow? Yeah, I think that's possible. And, that's nothing unusual for early April. I didn't show this graphic tonight, but I'll show it before the week is through, certainly. Our average date of the last 1-inch snowfall is at the very end of March. We're only a few days past that. So this is, nothing unusual for this time of the year. It's just, a lot of people are, cleaning up their yards, getting set for spring. We've had some warm weather. We're going to have more warm weather in the relatively near future. So it might be a little shocking to the system to get a couple of inches of wet snow at the end of the week. All right, real quick look at the longer range here. A real back and forth pattern for the next probably 2 weeks. Here's a look at the latest CFS climate forecast system modeling. A 5 to 10 day outlook showing the general warm-up beyond our Friday storm. I think we'll touch 70 once or twice early next week. That'll probably be followed by another cool shot towards the end of next week, and out towards the tax day, middle of the month. And then after that, not only this modeling, but some of the other modeling shows spring really trying to lock in and really get going in earnest during the second half of April. No surprise. That's the way it usually works out. But this may be our last hurrah of a decent cold shot right around maybe tax day. And then after that, it's looking fairly warm on a lot of the modeling for the second half of April. So that's the way it looks right now. All right, so a lot to get to this week weather-wise. Make sure you are up to date by following me on Twitter and Facebook. I'll have radar snapshots throughout the evening, and on 21 News at 11, I'll have a very active radar to show you tonight. Hope you'll tune in tomorrow for more weather for Weather Geeks, and have a great Monday night.